have your material in front of you so you know where you're working and what you're doing. So we've got a jip, and if you've conditioned correctly, your job in the construction part will be a lot easier. Okay, it'll be a lot easier because you've already conditioned.
How many level are you supposed to have?
I think it was 5.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I've got an extra one floated on there, but we have an extra if you need it. And then the slough. Okay. Now, you would tend to keep it flat on the table, don't hold it up, and the hand that you use will be however you feel natural, but normally it's the opposite to your writing hand, it depends. I like to use something like leather leaf as the background first, give some sort of security to your design. And what we're trying to create is sort of like a kite shape like this, that goes from a point down and then curves in. Okay, so it's this sort of shape. So you would hold it. Again, I like to work a bit over the table so that you let your stems just freely fall, rather than like here, because you find it quite tricky. A nice piece at the back, and then 2 slightly other pieces that are going to go either side, okay, a little bit shorter. So you're sort of creating that diamond shape, sort of kite shape. Now the thing to remember, where your thumb is, the stems are going to go across the top, okay? Where your fingers are, the stems are going to go underneath. And that's the thing to try and remember, because that's what creates the spiral. So where your thumb is, you go across the top, because you can lift your thumb up, you can place it down and cross it and close your thumb again. Where your fingers are, you can place it underneath, because you can move your fingers and then place this diamond under there. Okay? So I'm going to place a little bit of leather leaf first. This has gone across the top, and this one's straight, yeah? This one's gone underneath. So here, the point of where they meet, this is what they're going to call a binding point. So this is the point that you're going to tie it. You're then going to place, now because we've got the roses, I would actually place a little bit of jip first as a background. Okay, so this one's going to go in the cross. Now, rather than actually sitting on top here, because you want to try and avoid this crossing stems, just going to bring it to the side a little bit. So this side, remember, across the top. This side, oops, tuck it underneath. Okay.
So the bit you put in there went straight, but a little bit underneath.
Yeah, this one has gone straight, but I've sort of tucked it down here a little bit where my fingers are. Because if I just lay everything on top, what happens is A, you end up with lots of crossing stems, and B, it becomes a very flat looking design. And what you want to create is quite a bit of depth to it. So bring these ones to the side where your fingers are, like that, and just lay it on top, like this. Yeah, these ones always go across, these ones go underneath, but this one, if you want it here, rather than doing that, because you don't want that cross, you would just tuck it to the side like that. Does that make sense? Yeah. It'd be good to practice this several times, really, this stem part, till you've mastered it. So don't panic if you don't, first of all, understand it, because I can help you. So this rose, I want this rose here. So where would I place it? Like this?
Yeah, you're going to tuck it a little bit.
Yeah, so that goes to the side. So it still sits in the middle, but it's gone to the side of it. And then this one I want here, so I'm going to place that across the top. And this one I want here, I'm going to go place underneath. Now, because you've conditioned, you shouldn't really have any thorns at this stage of your hand, and any leaves. You don't want any leaves beyond your hand as well. So you see, you've got this taller part, and then you're going down. Now, you want to try and avoid having 2 roses like that next to each other. So you see this space, we're going to work this space. Slough's good, just to give you a little bit of, what I call a bit of profile, yeah? So it doesn't look so flat. So build that within the design, just to give you a bit of shape and a bit of profile. And we've got bits of jip we'll work here in a minute. This is going to go here, so it goes across the top. Fill in that space. This one I want over here, so I'm actually going to place it here, but I want to put another one here at the moment. So rather than laying it like that, because A, it makes it flat looking, and B, it crosses, I'm going to slightly bring it to the side. So you can get any, when you bring it to the side, you can get any height with it. You can make any adjustment with it. You see it's starting to build up here. This is the profile. I'm going to bring a bit of jip in, just to bring a bit of the white through the design. Still got a bit of level leaf to use, which I'm going to save for the sides. I'm going to bring this a little bit of jit down here. The great thing is with roses, you can sort of adjust them. Now you notice I'm not tying it at all at the moment. Okay.
Yeah, then you can't really see the fingers down there.
Well, maybe you can come around here, bring your chair round. Yeah? Come round, you can sit from that side. Yeah? So this one want this side, so you bring it underneath. And then this one, choose your best rose. I mean, they're all very similar, but choose your best one, which is going to be your focal flower. That's the one that your eye's going to look to first. Now I want it here. If I do that, it automatically makes your design flat. So if I bring it in here, I can have it any height I want. And this makes a good design, is that profile, it builds up space. And that's only by placing it to the side in there rather than doing this. Because you're not going to get any height there because you've laid it on top. Yeah, so imagine like a dotted line coming up. And then I might put a little bit of slough there. I've got 2 more roses. Okay, so again I'm just going to, quite good if we just take this. Okay, I might put a rose here. I know it is, no, give it some oomph underneath. Yeah, I haven't used it all. Tomorrow we'll get this fluffy foliage, which will be good. It will sink a little bit. And try and get a very symmetrical sort of looking shape if you can, and that's because that's the sort of design you want. So you want a line coming through. Then the final bit, if you've got some level leaf, collar it. So instead of doing it that way round, because it makes it look flat, go with the shape of the level leaf, collar it round. So actually reverse it like this. Yeah. So it goes to the shape, gives it a bit of colour. Then this is the binding point here where I'm actually holding it. So everything this side's gone across, anything this side's gone behind. If it's in the middle, it's sort of tucked where my fingers are. And then once you've done that, you ideally want to try and just tie at the end, because this is what's called the binding point part. And you don't want loads of string. I hold a little bit under my thumb. I've got this end hanging. Try to avoid lifting it up as much as possible, because you will lose the shape a little bit. Then I go above my hand, round the binding point part once, twice, give it a tug, and sometimes even a 3rd time, give it a nice tug.
Can I show another way that I do it with this one?
Yeah.
I find it easier. I get this.
And then you just cut that off.
And I put it here.
Oh yeah, my colleague used to do it like that. Yeah.
And I just get it, put it round it, put it through it.
That's another way, yeah. Yeah. You'll find that everyone has different styles, because everyone's taught from different people over the many years. So what you do is not incorrect if that suits you, if that's what you're comfortable with, yeah. So yeah, there's no rule book to say it has to be done this way, as long as your product is the same product at the end. Yeah. And you've got the same thing at the end, that's fine. Now I've used the pop tape just to, again for security, and also it's part of one of the criteria, making sure your binding point's covered. So use a little bit of tape there. So what I'd like us to do is try to get to this sort of stage where you've all got your stems spiralling. Try to avoid any crisscrossing. Try to build a little bit of profile, although this does need a little bit more, to be fair. It needs a little bit more down the bottom. And try and have sort of a symmetrical type shape. So you're building this sort of kite shape down and around. Yeah? Of course you can, yeah. So anything on this side was going across. Anything on the left-hand side went behind. That's because I had it in my right hand. Okay? If you have it in your left hand, which is maybe what you feel comfortable, where your thumb is, goes across, where your fingers are tucked behind. So it's just the opposite. So where your thumb is, it goes across, where your fingers are just tucked behind. So just remember that really. Fingers, it goes behind, where your thumb is in front. Yeah?